Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final round of NTT 2019. We're at the British circuit of Goodwood. It's a lovely sunny evening, very hot summer. Now, you can see that the pace lap is just getting started with the pace car leading the field around the first lap, and then he'll pull off and let them start racing. It's reverse grid at the back. You can see Belvika and then Judoka. Now the championship is still technically up for grabs because Judoka is just a little under 20 points behind Belvika. That means that if Judoka manages to win this race, and if Belvika finishes with fewer than, I think, 4 or fewer than 3 points, that Judoka could technically win the championship. Now, a DNF is always possible. It's possible always that a driver may encounter a problem and not be able to finish the race. But it's rather unlikely. So we're looking at Belvika as probably to be the champion of NTT 2019 at the end of this race. There have been other drivers of note, of course. We've seen that Tokyo has made a wonderful comeback, having been away for a little while, and did very well in the previous, I think, 2 races. Now, we're on board with Jag now. Now, the thing about the Goodwood course is that most of it is most of it pales in comparison to that last chicane there, which is extremely dangerous, and overtaking there is basically a lost cause. Now, here they are. They've just got the start signal now, which means that they can begin to race. We're looking at Test Dude here. He's caught in the middle of a pack of competitors as they all try to jostle past each other to try to get past the slow drivers at front. You can see Gyrza there and Nunu. Nunu tries to opportunistically get past Test Dude. Test Dude sort of forcing the inside, gets a little bit of a bump from behind, it looks like, and goes skidding off now. He's careening back onto the track, hits Nunu, and Tokyo as well. Tokyo gets hit, and in turn Tokyo hits one of the, I think that's Belvika that he hit, yes, as Belvika manages not to go spinning off there. That incident there, that pile-up could have been a factor which may have cost Belvika the championship, indeed, but he managed to recover. Now, the new status quo is that Jag is way out in front because of that. 93, I should apologise, by the way. I'd said previously that 93 is a reserve driver. He is, in fact, bushy under a different handle. Well, he's in second anyway, so Thor in third, Judoka fourth. You can see quite a few cars. The pack is really quite close together, although they're starting to spread out a little bit. Belvika's in fifth, sort of between the packs. The pack in the chase for first, and the pack that's sort of a midfield pack at the time being. Jag on softs, so is 93 or Bushy. Softs also for Thor and Judoka and Belvika is on hards. Now that's interesting, and so is Gyrza. They must have coordinated beforehand to try and figure out which tyre would suit their strategy the best in the Aston Martin. So let's see. We've got Judoka. He's looking very closely at Thor. On board with Judoka here. This is a fairly good point to overtake, this sort of penultimate corner. Oh, he doesn't quite make it. That was very close. That was nearly an impact. Thor went skidding over picked up some dust there. They go through the last chicane there. Very, very tricky, very tight. Belvika. Whoa! Very messy from Belvika there, who just manages again to reclaim control of his car. Oh, there's Tokyo going off as well. Very difficult chicane. You have to slow right down and then carefully navigate it. Of course, you try to go as fast as you can because it is a race after all, but that puts you at a huge risk. Right, so 93 has caught up with Jag. He's going to try to make the pass. He starts to nose his way through, touches the grass a little bit on the inside there. It's not too bad if you're touching the inside of the grass, but if you touch the outside, this circuit really wants to pull you in. As you could see, the Thor when wildly skidding off there, managed to recover. Oh, and there's Jag. Jag's gone wide. He's gone very wide indeed. Makes it onto the course considerably more safely than his teammate did. Quite unfortunate there on the first lap. So we're looking at Belvika here. Is still in 5th. He's still just behind Jag. You can see that. Wait, no, he's got ahead of Jag. I do apologise. He's some way behind Gyrza though. See them all wheeling through there. Jag not having a very good day of it today, it seems, skidding wide on the final chicane there. Tokyo is just coming through there, and Mop Racer is somewhere behind him. We've seen some good things from Mop Racer, but I think that Tokyo of the two has proved to be the more capable driver at the moment. 93, setting fast laps in his soft tyres. Oh, nice bit of drifting around the corner there. His teammate Judoka in 2nd. It looks like that this is a circuit where the Ferraris are thriving. Thor is following behind, and Gyrza is very close behind Thor now, actually. Belvika's caught up with the pack in front. It's Jag. He's gone in the gravel again. Oh dear. I do feel that he's having a very disappointing afternoon here. Oh, that's Nunu. What's Nunu doing? I've no idea. He seems to have. I don't know if he's lost control of the car. Well, he's clearly lost control of the car, because now he's facing the wrong way and in the grass. That's very, very disappointing. And fortunately, Jag managed to get away from that without being knocked off the track, but he'll probably wonder what's going on there. So let's see, we're 5 racing laps in, and we can see Mops on medium tyres, which is interesting. I'm not sure if anybody else is on the mediums. Most are on softs, which is understandable. They all want a good start. Nunu at the back on hards. Hopefully he'll be able to make up some places as others stop before him. 93 and Judoka are on softs each. Very similar rate of tyre wear. Very similar rate of fuel usage. Judoka, I think, is slightly better for tyre wear. Oh, a little bit of a dust kicked up there with under braking as Thor tries to get as close as possible. If the thing about the chicane is if you get a good exit speed, that's pretty much all you're looking for. But even then, it's extremely hard to get a pass on this first turn. It's a yellow flag. I'm not sure what all that was about. I guess one of the drivers had a little bit of an off. I didn't see it, but presumably that's what happened. Okay, Judoka has fallen behind. I'm not sure what happened. Judoka fell behind 93, and now Thor's all over him. It looks like Thor just isn't letting go. He didn't win that fight, but I'm sure he'll be able to catch up. But Thor's tyre wear is much worse than Judoka's, so I think maybe Judoka and 93 are both conserving their tyres as much as possible. This will mean that their tyres last for longer. They might be even trying to have their tyres last for 1/3 of race distance. In other words, treating their soft tyres as though it's sort of a medium tyre with more flexibility. It's a very common strategy. You can see them winding through there onto the home straight. Thor gets, I think, a bit of a better exit out of there, using the slipstream to make up the distance. From what it looked like, that wasn't the best cornering there from from Thor, but of course it is more difficult to corner when in a slipstream. There's less air to flow over the aerodynamic wings, and that means less downforce, considerably less downforce, which makes it a bit more difficult to get around corners as effectively. You can see there was a white thing. That white thing was one of the braking markers. It's been knocked off. I'm not sure, but I think that's where Test Jude went off. I think it's possible he took one of those markers with him and it ended up deposited in the road there. Right, so how far ahead is 93? He's not that far ahead, but he is kind of comfortable. You can only just see a brief glimpse of the cars behind. You've been out for 7 racing laps so far. Sorry, I mean 8 racing laps. No, 7, because they're just starting their 8th racing lap. There's a bit of a skid from Gyrza. Oh, and another one behind from his teammate. So, interestingly, Gyrza has been actually pulling away from Belvika, because previously we saw them and they were fairly close together. So Belvika, it seems, doesn't seem to be doing all that well. I think it's possible that he's just playing it safe. All he has to do is take at least 4 points and he'll be champion. Whereas Gyrza, well, he'll have a little bit more to prove. He's a reserve driver, he's come in, he'll be looking to have a good race for the sake of the race itself. Belvika is more motivated to race with the championship at the forefront of his considerations. Here he is now, gently taking the corner. Oh, a little bit of dust kicked up there. In fact, I wonder how many cars are there competing in this race, because 14th place would net you 1 point, and so 13th, 12th, 11th. So you'd need to finish 11th or better, and I believe there are only 11 cars on the circuit, which means that he may only have to finish the race, actually, in order to become championship. So as long as he doesn't have a mishap, or he should be fine. But Judoka, on the other hand, oh boy, I wouldn't want to be in Judoka's shoes, because he has to win this race, and then also Belvika has to have, retired by some means or another, or possibly come last. And that's the only way for him to possibly win the championship. So the pressure is really on for Judoka, and you can see as he's sort of nose to tail right behind Thor here, really putting the pressure on. It seems that Thor cracks a little bit under the pressure, just about manages to retain position. It's complete insanity to overtake here, so Judoka backs off. We've got the first pit stops. That's Judoka getting past the others now, because Thor and 93 have both dived into the pits on just at the end of the 10th racing lap. It's not quite 1/3 of the distance, so I think both Thor and 93 need to adjust their strategies, possibly throw some medium tyres on for the final stint. Oh, that's Belvika. He's had another messy incident coming out of that final chicane. As long as he keeps going, though, and doesn't get disqualified, he'll be fine. And now Judoka is in the lead. He's actually is quite a good possibility that he will win this race, in fact, because he's making the tyres last well enough. But Sarah's guys are on hards, and he's not too far behind. If Judoka doesn't manage to make a lot of time up on Gyrza only has 1 stop to make, and Judoka will have at least 2 and probably 3. If he can make it a 2-stop, I think that Judoka might take the win. I think that's a distinct possibility. If it's a 3-stop, well, suddenly all the guys who are behind but on hard tyres, like, well, perhaps not like Nunu here, because I'm not sure that Nunu quite has the pace. But I think that Tokyo is on hard tyres. Tokyo is very well regarded for his ability to keep fuel use to a minimum, which is very helpful in these races where he will want to spend half of the race distance out without refueling at all. Right, then we can see that 93 is on fresh softs, and I think Thor was as well. I think we saw that earlier. So pursuing an all-soft strategy, or perhaps soft and then medium, or maybe even hard at the end. We'll have to see how that goes, if they might be able to use the hards but really push with them. Otherwise, I think that their strategy may be a bit of a bust. Gyrza and Thor, Thor and 93. Thor, his tyres have been worn a little bit more. He must have had a little bit of a wobble. Now, Belvika hasn't been lucky at all in this race. He's had a few incidents. Well, he has been a little bit lucky, because in that first lap pile up, he did escape basically unscathed. Oh my word! 93 is taking Thor. He just squeezes him. That's a little bit naughty. He doesn't quite squeeze Thor off the track, but he really put it to the really put him to the edge there. So dicing with the very boundaries of the rules, which of course is what the racing drivers do. Bit of lag there. Having a look through here. I've got another pit stop. It's Nunu, and it's only 13 laps, and he's already pitting for fresh tyres. I'm not sure why, but there you have it. Lovely little weaving there through the chicane. Beautifully done. I mean, I'm sure that none of the drivers will have thanked me for the selection of this course as the final round, but I have to say that for the most part they've been doing a beautiful job of getting through it. His Judoka, his tyres are really worn through now. He's done a spectacular job of making them last as long as they have. He's now made them last almost, actually, half distance. Half distance would be, let me see, lap 16. If he can make these tyres last to lap 16, he'll have accomplished something quite astounding, which is to run essentially a one-stop on softs, which is something that the NTT organisers do try to prevent from being a possibility. Well, I suppose, it is a possibility if you're willing to accept that you'll be going at quite a relatively slow race pace, but, well, it's certainly on the cards that if you are very careful, you can make soft tyres run like slightly better hards. Now, this is quite interesting. We've got now a pack of 3 cars forming very, very closely. 93 there, very wobbly, a little bit chaotic there. Hopefully now they're all packed in like sardines. The 3 of them, Gyrza in front, 93, and then Thor. They're forming a little train. A very close train indeed on a course that does not take too well to very close racing. Thor had a little bit of a skid there, but quickly catches up again. Now Gyrza is on hard tyres, and the others are on softs, which means that he's really holding them up. Of course, he has the right to race them. They are racing, and the more he can hold them up, the less advantage they will be able to exercise through race pace on their superior tyres, and the more of a chance that Gyrza will be able to to have a long-term advantage from just all the time that's being wasted of Thor and 93 gets bumps into the wall there. I think he underestimated the way in which downforce is reduced through there. Everyone might have just been a little, an ever under pressure. But as I was saying, if Gyrza can do a good job holding up 93, but Judoka is well ahead, and I think he has to worry more about Judoka. So maybe Gyrza is playing for second here. If he can hold these fellas up, he might be able to snatch second place as a result of the ways that the tyre strategies work here. And of course that means that 93 is going to get ever more desperate to get past as soon as possible. He has to get past. That was a tap. That was a little bump. Gyrza got bumped a little bit by 93. I think 93 slowed down, acknowledging his mistake. Thor nearly capitalised on it to take position. He does take position. Thor has managed to slip past, and it looks like 93, he bumped off Gyrza off a little bit, acknowledged his mistake, did not want to get a penalty for it, completely reasonably backed off, but it was enough for Thor to slip past. Very sneaky, very coy. Now Judoka has finally come to the bits, and he's done it. He's got to the end of 15 racing laps out of 32, and he's pitting now. What kind of tyres is he going for? I think if he goes for softs and tries the same thing again, he could win the race. Meanwhile, Gyrza now in first, has yet to stop. Will probably stop at the end of this lap, possibly Belvika as well. Tokyo, maybe. He's got a lot more fuel to play with, but his tyres are a lot more worn. There can be a little bit of a dichotomy at times between saving fuel and conserving tyres. Sometimes the kind of coasting you need to do in order to save fuel means also you're going lighter on the brakes, which means that you have to turn corner at higher speeds, which your tyres won't thank you for. Conversely, if you're driving in such a way that's kind to the tyres, it means that you're having to brake a little bit later, and so on. So, now who's that diving into the pits? That's Gyrza. As I thought, at the end of the lap, he went in. That means 93 can finally break away, but it's probably too late. If he could have got past earlier, then I think he would have had an advantage over Gyrza. But as things stand, he's going to have a very difficult time making up the distance. And now this has all allowed Tokyo to catch up, allowing cars behind. Again, not being able to get past the cars ahead of you is bad enough. But then it also lends a second wind to those competitors who are behind and able to catch up because of all that battling and that kind of traffic jam situation. Bit of excitement there from Thor. Guys are out of the pits in 5th. That's not bad at all. He's less than half a lap behind 93. He's about a third of a lap behind, in fact. Oh my word. 93 has gone off. He's gone completely into the gravel. Manages basically to sort of rescue himself, but he'll have lost a good couple of seconds there at least. Let's see how many seconds he'll have lost from that as he crosses the line. He lost about 4 seconds from that little off, and that's let Tokyo catch right up to, and he's gone off again. And is that Tokyo? No, Tokyo. No, sorry, it's Tokyo is in the other Honda. This is Nunu. Nunu's just been lapped there, but follows 93 off now. It's not entirely. It's not completely absurd, because a lot of the time you will be following a driver ahead and sort of assuming, especially since they're the race leader, that they do know what they're doing, and when they make a mistake you sort of follow them right into it. It's something you have to really train yourself out of. So Thor on the softs at the moment. I think, no, it was Mock Racer who was on the mediums. I hope that's working out for him. It doesn't seem to be. He's in 7th. You know, I haven't actually been keeping an eye on the Renault cars, Heineken Racing Team, so I haven't seen them, so I presume that they both DNF'd. Jaguar's not having a good race, and I think after Test Dude, I think that it's a shame about Test Dude particularly. He did have a pile-up incident, but I think he could well have stuck in it for... I think they both could have stuck with it to... just a couple of points can make a difference, but I think in their case, at the end of the championship, they didn't really stand to gain any positions. So let's have a look at Tokyo, who's 2nd at the moment. His tyres are pretty worn down. He's starting to get very low on fuel, and he's actually made about almost 2/3 race distance on 1 tank of fuel and 1 set of tyres, which is very impressive. Judoka is right behind him though. It's a similar situation, of course. If Tokyo can hold up Judoka, then, well... Oh, but no, let's see what's going on. Tokyo just narrowly fends off Judoka, but as a result kind of goes off, but manages to rescue it. So he's, a little bit of oversteer through there, and he pits. So a little bit of a fight. He risked an awful lot there, even though he was just about to cede the position anyway. Very risky stuff on Tokyo's part. If he'd let Judoka go through, then he wouldn't have risked going off as he very nearly did. Right, so let's see. We've got Gyrza on spanking fresh hard tyres and about 3/4 of a tank. Belvika, similar story. So both of the Virgin Zuma teammates are pursuing an extremely similar strategy. Gyrza, though, remaining consistently ahead, with slightly better pace, it seems, than Belvika, and also having been under a far more pressured situation. So, I hate to say this, but, okay, if Belvika is not at his fastest just because he doesn't have to be, then it seems like he's being upstaged a little bit by his opponent Gyrza, who has, by the way, been a driver in NGT. He debuted in NGT3, had a very impressive early showing, and was one of the contenders to take the title, but then was surpassed by Riot, and Riot would go on to win the title. Bit of oversteer there from 93, which is surprising considering that as of recent physics changes, the Ferrari has become a very understeer prone car. I have to say that his car does look rather splendid in this evening light. This glorious sunset. Gyrza is quite close behind Thor, although Thor's been on a sort of soft strategy. Okay, 93 comes in for his second stop, and we're just about roughly 2/3 of the way through this. Yeah, just 2/3 of the way through. So it looks like it's a two-stopper for 93. Very well managed from him. Gyrza overtakes 93 and Thor in the pits. Nice and efficient. He has not had to battle Thor. He's just caught up to him and then been able to have a clear track instead of having to fight for position. Now here's Thor in the pits. And what's going on here? Oh no. Oh dear, oh dear. Thor has encountered a problem, and his car begins a wheelie of doom. It's entirely possible that, according to his version of events, he's doing just fine, but from what most of the other drivers and what I'm seeing from our perspectives, he's gone in the pits possibly never to return. So that's a little bit of an upset, I suppose. He's still in first, though. I mean, no, he wasn't first at the time. It's just the game's screwing up even further because it's put him about a lap ahead of everyone else. I think I would have noticed if he'd been out in front there. Right, yes, he was registered as being a lap ahead somehow. Oh, yes, that's good. Doing a bit of a headbang. Probably listening to some banging tunes. Right, so Judoka in first, Gyrza in second, 93 in third on some lovely fresh tyres. But, yeah, so 93 should not have to stop again. So it's a straight race now between him and Gyrza, maybe Judoka as well, but I mean, the thing about soft tyres is that they're good at lending extra flexibility. If you're extremely careful with them, you can make them last as long as hard tyres, and Judoka has been extremely careful with them in the first stint, but already you can see his tyres are kind of worn down a little bit more than perhaps he'd like them to be. So Gyrza has a little bit of an advantage, not much of one, but it's something. It'll give him cause for hope. He will have to lap Nunu now. That might be a little bit of a problem for him, but Nunu should be able to, just move out of the way. Nunu seems to be more or less in a world of his own, come to think of it. Yeah, so I think that's basically, that confirms it. There's, oh dear, was that a tap? As Nunu doesn't quite get out of the way in time. Gyrza goes past. Nunu should heed the blue flags and move to the side of the road when somebody lapping, or somebody trying to lap him is behind and ready to overtake. So yes, there's only 8 drivers here, which means that as long as Belvika finishes the race and doesn't do anything to get himself disqualified from the standings, then he is the champion. No doubt about it. So here's Judoka coming into the pits. Belvika could have a problem like Thor, and if Thor is genuinely stuck, I'm not sure that he is, because he would have disconnected by now if his version of events. Oh, hello, what's this? Judoka overtaking Belvika, having just come out of the pits. There was a tap there. Belvika was sort of pushed off the road. Oh, that's very naughty. There was really no need for that. They're not even competing for the lead of the race. But it looked like Judoka there just lightly tapped Belvika in such a way that Belvika was forced off. So that might cause a penalty. So we'll have to see. I think Judoka has now got an extra challenge, which is that he might have another 5 or maybe even 10 seconds that he'll have to gain in order to secure victory. That's if Belvika does retire, then that might become suddenly a very important issue. But for what it's worth, let's. The race is. Oh, whoa, Gyrza! Oh man! Getting off there, we saw Belvika having a lot of trouble there in the early part of the race, and now his teammates similarly having trouble just about managing to recover. It seems that for its faults, the Aston Martin is very good at, it seems, at recovering from skids, but I think, you know, that might just be a testament to the skill of its drivers. I was just about to say, before that incident happened, that the race on its own terms seems to be entertaining enough without regard for the championship. We can see 93 somewhere ahead. Bit of oversteer there, bit of a drift, bit more overheating on his front left tyre. That's going to cause problems towards the end of the race, but I mean, 26 out of 32 racing laps in, just a little bit, something like 3/4 distance. Who knows, it's touch and go, I think, as to which strategy will pay off, because that's what this is. This is ultimately a race of about 3 different coherent strategies, all carrying the potential to take victory, which means that in the next few laps, as the last pit stops are taken, if any, we'll begin to see them all closing in on each other. We'll see the racing intensify. Oh, hello. There's still Thor here in the pits. We're looking at him bouncing up and down there in the wheelie of death, the wheelie of the apocalyptic wheelie of ultimate doom. Where was I? Yes, so in the last few laps of this race, we should be seeing the front runners get very close and personal. Hopefully that will create some rather exciting clashes. Nunu's just gone in again. He's pursuing a 2-stop strategy on hard tyres, which I think from what I've seen of his racing previously, he has a little bit. I mean, his racecraft isn't dreadful, and his racing line understanding is actually very good, but smoothness of inputs seems to be a weakness for him, which means that even on the hard tyres he'll be experiencing rather high tyre wear. Right, 93 in first. Tyres worn out, probably a lot more than he'd hoped. What on earth is that yellow flag? Who's gone off there? Somebody's gone off there. I'm trying to. It's somebody who's being lapped, so it's probably Nunu. We're just riding on the drone cam. Yeah, we passed the car there that I think I could see was Nunu. In case you're wondering, we're able to get the chase cam view by having little drones on pieces of string hanging off the rear wing, with rotor stabilizers, which is why it's a very smooth, steady image. Blue flags. What's going on here? I don't know who's getting blue flagged. It's probably just someone coming out of the pit lane or something relatively pedestrian like that. '93 is starting to feel the pressure from Gyrza. Gyrza and Judoka having a battle, and Gyrza is managing to just keep Judoka off. Now that was a very critical battle, because as before, going for the inside, is he going to make it? No, because gives Gyrza the advantage on the next one. It was that little bit of contact, I'm not sure. It hasn't done Judoka any favours anyway. So very critical, because as before, Judoka will now be struggling to get past Gyrza. Gyrza, with the slower pace maybe, but has much more to gain by holding Judoka up for as long as possible. as they file through the chicane there. It's blue flags again. What on earth is that all about? Belvika's in 4th and he's starting to catch up. The the cars ahead of him are in his sights now. As I said before, guys are holding up. Oh! Judoka manages to squeeze past, or does he? Oh, it's going to be close. Yes, he manages it. Judoka manages to squeeze his way past Gyrza. A lovely bit of driving there, a bit of clean racing where they both respect each other's rights to the road and pass very nicely indeed. That was beautiful to watch. So that means Judoka is able to start getting away, or is he? Let's have a look at the state of his tyres, because 93's tyres he's only got a couple laps to go. But his tyres are almost shot to pieces. Can we have a look at Judoka's tyres? Whoa, hello. Oh, that was Mop Racer being lapped. I think that's what the blue flags were in aid of earlier. Mop Racer a lap behind the others, and struggling to get through that chicane. Right, so where were we? Oh yeah, so 93 is in the lead. He's quite some way in the lead. Judoka's tyres are fine. Yeah, because he ended up chickening out and getting a 3rd pit stop, whereas 93 has not. But Judoka is running a little bit lower on fuel than maybe he ought to be. That'll give him some challenges at the end of the race. We'll have to see how that goes. He may have enough, or he may have to start economising on fuel. Okay, it's just coming up to the end of the penultimate lap. Gyrza, I think, is settling for 3rd. I think he's sort of accepted it because he's dropped off. Whoa, a little bit of a wobble from 93. Mop Racer again goes a bit wide there. So yeah, I think Gyrza has basically resigned himself to 3rd. Whoa, 93 goes off. Oh, it's a horrendous spin, and that means that the lead might change. Judoka follows him off as well, but does manage to get past it. Yeah, it's an incident where Judoka got off it very lightly. So Gyrza now has an opportunity to take the lead, and he's done it. Gyrza slips past Judoka, being sort of off balance there through that little incident. After going off, picking up dirt, it takes your tyres a little while to get back up to optimal, the optimal sort of window of performance. Tries to go around the outside there. Is it going to work for him? No. Gyrza neatly cuts him off. We're following, just looking at the sort of following distance there. Judoka's so close behind. Is he going to be able to? He's running out of chances. After this corner, I think it's basically over unless something happens to Gyrza at this very last stage. It's really on now. Okay, the pressure is really on to get this right. So just slips through there, and that's it. He's done it. Gyrza has, in quite a surprise, quite a shock, has won the final round here. So what's happened to 93? 93 in 5th has gone wild. I think maybe from his tyres or something, but his throttle is not even on the throttle, and Tokyo slips past him to steal 5th position. Belvika in 3rd, which means that he has basically won the championship, and Nunu in last. What an astonishing race there, especially at the end. Quite an upset. So here are the results. Belvika has taken enough points to win the championship. Judoka, because of that earlier incident, has been awarded a 5-second penalty, which actually knocked him down a few positions. Thor, actually, from his own perspective, was doing very well indeed. We're respecting his version of events as far as his driving is concerned, so he's been given third position. And Belvika, because of that, and the penalty of Judoka, and because Bushy went skidding off, Belvika came second here, so although he didn't actually do all that well in the race, he's suddenly knocked up to second. I think he might be quite happy with that. But happier still, again, to have won NTT 2019 outright. Here's the new reigning champion, the new number one. Looking at the Teams Championship, we can see, looking at the Teams Championship, by 1 point, thanks to the events of this race, Virgin Zuma are first. They've won the Teams Championship, so congratulations to them. They've hit the double whammy of taking the Drivers' title and the Teams Championship title by just 1 point. DNA Oracle, a very respectable second with 184 points, and Vollsteiner Racing with 140 points. They've been consistently third in the standings throughout, no surprises there. A shout out to Zanavi NSX rated team for starting with nothing but having a very high average points scoring rate since then. And then it's Heineken Racing, DHL Terrapins, who haven't entered a race at all for the last 3 rounds, unfortunately. And then Mountain Dew Racing Zoo have only raced in 2 races total, which is very unfortunate. And then the Agit Motorsports team was replaced by Zanavi partway through the championship. So that's all, really. That's NTT 2019. Please join us soon when we get a rally car series started off. It will be called NRX. It'll be totally awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.